you can see our faces again, sort of. Uh, Apparently, I had to muck around with different settings to do this. We got that. So I hope everybody's having a good Boxing Day. For those
Boxing
who
Day.
Boxing Day, who those who actually, for those who don't know, Boxing Day usually it's the big sales day in Britain. They don't have Black Friday. It's Boxing Day, and for everybody else, it's also a rush because they have to go back and return all the toys that they bought extra. Like, oh, I bought a game for my son, and my mother also bought a game for the Nintendo, and etc. etc. So you can imagine how that goes.
Actually, funny thing is, I just came back from Target and it was actually not very busy. We went
Mm.
looking for discount Christmas lights and stuff, and
For next
we
year.
didn't find anything to our liking. But yeah, the customer service line was not very big. That might be more to do with, I think, the trend of people buying gift cards now versus actually
Ah,
buying things. But funny thing is about Boxing Day is it's originally funny you mentioned like the sales thing because Boxing Day is supposed to be about like donating stuff that you don't need.
oh,
Like it's boxing as in like the boxes, your boxing stuff. It's like for donation boxes.
I've heard it's literally a Boxing Day about celebrate fights or something, and I've heard many stories about it. So I can't say
Which
that.
I mean, if it's a case about donations, I think it's definitely lost its meaning.
Mhm. So yeah, yeah. Well, just checking that we're in fact live, because it could happen that we think we're live and we're in fact not live at all. So, there's not a lot of news. This being the couple of last days of not only the month but the year.
Yeah,
Uh,
everyone's out of the office.
Everybody's out of the office and everybody's taking a break. And hopefully, everybody who's watching this had a great Christmas. Of course, New Year's is around. I come from a place where Christmas doesn't end until basically the end of January.
Hmm.
We literally have the longest Christmas in the world because we also celebrate Epiphany, or has it been transliterated into Three Kings Day, which is
Hmm.
on the 6th. So you kids get another round of gifts. Uh, it also happens to be Greek Orthodox Christmas. Oh, and my chair is like, you should buy a new one, dude. Yeah, I saw a gaming chair, but it was like $157. Well, actually, it was on
Ooh.
sale for 79. I didn't buy it. Like, I'm gonna come later, and it was 157. It was like, ah, I need a new chair, as you can see, or not, as the case may be, because I keep falling out of frame. Uh, but there's a couple of news, and basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk in general terms about the games that we played this year, which are not necessarily the games
That came out this year.
came out this year. I played I think I should play a handful of them that came out this year, and then the rest were the things. So, talking about shuttering and closing and things that happen at the end of the year, Planetside Arena is shutting down after only 4 months. Update. Correction, got my dates wrong. I fixed it. That the game came out in 2019, not 2018. Sorry. So this is even shorter game. Um,
Hmm.
some games last 4 years, and others is bringing less than one. Planetside Arena, which launched back in September 2019, so a couple of months ago, it's closing down next month. Announcement was made yesterday uh, on the game Steam page via blog post of developer of Daybreak Games. Planetside seems to be one of those things that sort of lingers and never really takes off. Because I've seen some people play Planetside, I'd be into it, but yeah, this is another game.
Huh.
Um,
Yeah, like wasn't Planetside 2 really big?
it was for a while, but it also had problems because people were still playing the original Planetside, and they were like, "Oh, well, maybe we want to migrate, maybe we don't." It was weird because it was another. This was a multiplayer. It was kind of I don't know if it was third person or first person. I'm not really sure, but it was kind of FPS style. It actually preceded the kind of Destiny and stuff like that that came out. That became sort of the new MMO light. Well, this one was classic PC, massive area. So
Hmm.
I'm sorry that it did. I mean, people were enjoying it, and can get a private service going. That would be great.
That's the thing. That's the thing with like, I think like MMOs now. It's just going to be, um, well, the trends when it comes to these live services. I think we're going to see this more common, and we actually saw quite a bit of it this year with oh, what was their name? I I can't remember what the studio's name is, but they did the Lawbreakers, wasn't
Mhm.
it?
Yeah.
And then they tried making like this really fast dash like character shooter life service thing called oh, you're sinking. Yeah, sinking just like the studio. It's a
Yeah.
metaphor.
Yeah.
Uh the
Yeah.
what was it called? Radical Heights, I think. It's
Yeah.
like it came out, it wasn't even like complete. It was on early access on Steam, and then it's like, oh, we're out of business and closed down. It's
Hmm.
like, wow.
I think that was the one that tried to use like gravity. No, no, Radical Heights was something else. It was from, uh, yeah, it was from Bosky Studio Productions,
Yes, Bosky Studios.
which they made because they were making something else. And it was like, oh, that's not gonna be developed, so let's make Bosky make this, and hopefully it can sell,
And then
and
we
it
can keep our
didn't.
doors open.
Yeah, and it didn't work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does. Which seems to be the story of many studios now, and this not only this year but this decade, right? Sort of. I mean, again, we said this many times before, and the video game industry is full of uh, could have been, could have, would have, should have, but weren't. But still, I mean, I don't mind MMOs. I just mind the business models of the thing that irks me a little bit, but I don't like to see them shutter just because, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah.
And I think Final Fantasy 14 had also dropped a big update like this month and number surge. I started, I tried to play Final Fantasy 14, but I got flashbacks of World of Warcraft. I was like, this is kind of the same, and I moved on. So, I mean, if you enjoy your MMOs, then good for you. But I think for me, it's
Yeah.
the thing.
Ah, and this being like the end of the year is kind of interesting. Just thinking back, like 2010 or 2010 was a what do you call it? It's sort of like we saw the MMO height, and then like
Mm-hmm.
death down, and then we saw the rise of all these new trends,
Mm-hmm.
which is I guess like the decade before would have been the trend of the shooters, the like gritty gray and brown shooters.
Yeah, sorry about that. Um,
But yeah, it's like Planetside. It's like we hardly knew you Planetside Arena.
but for some good news though, on successful games, um, Hellblade 2 confirmed for both PC and Xbox Series X.
Hmm.
Senua Saga, Hellblade 2 was previously only confirmed for Xbox Series X. So, guys, I mean, Microsoft is continuing the trend of saying, "Oh, well, if it's come for us, then," and it was an exclusive for them. The original wasn't, but since and that was
Yeah,
a
and
big indie hit.
yes. Oh, yeah. I played that game this year, and holy moly, that
Yeah,
was a very like effective game.
I think I should play it. I mean,
You should. It is very well made, and it's really impactful.
uh,
Just like the themes and
I think
just
that the reason why I stayed away was very puzzle heavy.
mm,
And it was like I suck at puzzles, so I'm like I'm gonna be like stopping and looking at walkthroughs and going again. Because the moment you say puzzle, I go like,
nah. The only thing I had to look up really was just like the since I'm a like completionist, I had to look up like where to find like these rune like lore stones. That's it. This but I the puzzles are not that hard.
hmm. Yeah. So
But
let me
yeah,
put the link
and
on.
yeah, that trailer too is creepy too.
I mean, it's psychological thriller style video game kind of thing, right?
Yeah, as
Um,
somebody whose like biggest fear is like like mental health degrade
Degradation.
degradation is
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's just seeing like where I saw the character and then just kind of seeing her in that trailer, just kind of like, ooh,
Huh. Is it real? Is it her mind? Is it everything?
yeah.
Or is it a combination of both, right?
Is she being used
Or she's
like
just
as
imagining and everything. And going back, talking about old games that drop and come and go. Two pieces of news. One, that Witcher 3 has had what was it? Witcher 3 has as many players as Red Dead Redemption 2 on Steam. A single player, and because of the series that came out from Netflix, the first season is out. I think it picked up. Oh God, a chair, just behave. Come on. Oh, this is gonna be the entire show. Me going up and down, up and down, up and down. Anyway, so that's the thing, right? A single player can be as well. This is a Witcher 3, which is a darling of gaming. So I have it. I started playing it. I know I have to play it. This is one of the things. Should I play it by myself? Should I play it on stream? I'm not really sure. One of these days, but not today. And the other piece of news is, really enough, GTA 5 stream viewers more than triple. PUBG drops up top 10 in 2019, which again, that was one of those trends. The battle royale, PUBG, when this year started. Well, it was already sliding at the start of the year because of Fortnite. But last year,
PUBG's been
yeah.
PUBG's been on. I keep forgetting. Oh yeah, every time someone mentions PUBG, it's like, oh yeah, that game exists.
Yeah. Also, League of Legends overtook Fortnite as the most watched game. Now, viewership and sales and microtransactions are not the same thing, but it does show a sign of popularity and interest.
Yeah, like did they really? I think the GTA just released like a DLC because I keep seeing ads for it, like some sort of diamond heist or something.
Yeah, a new heist. They did a new heist.
Yeah, but did League of Legends release something?
I don't think so. Not that I heard.
Well, I'm not quite familiar with their structure other than they sell heroes and skins. I'm not sure if they sell. I don't think they segregate their populations with like DLC packs and stuff since it's a free to play game.
No. Well, the thing about GTA is essentially what they're selling you is the toys. So essentially, it kind of like, oh, you want the fastest car. It's going to cost you like $20-$30, which is a couple of $1,000. You want a yacht, you want this, you want that, right? So
it's just like the Matrix, except like the guy at the helm who drops in all the stuff and generates the things for you. You have to pay him.
Well, it's like real life, basically. If you want a yacht, you got to pay for it. So it's kind of like too real a simulation in a way. That don't really like. And also, man, for those people who might be interested, Superhot is free. This was on 5 days ago. I mean, we're talking about old news because we kind of missed. Superhot was free for the Epic Store only on 5 days ago today. So, what, on the weekend? I have a copy. I think I have a copy from GOG, so I don't. But it's an interesting game. That's one of those. That's one of the things that for all the games that were following trends, you also had games like Superhot in this year and this couple of years and decade were trying to be experimental. Like Sense was a Hellblade and Superhot, right? And they made a splash.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Not, I think they've kept things interesting. Oh, wait a minute! Wow, Dark Alliance official announcement trailer. There are 7 or 8 Dungeons and Dragons video games in the works. Wow, that's interesting. I always like a video game, Dungeons and Dragons style games. The Neverwinter Night MMO is still going. A clicker in 2017 was Champion of the Forgotten Realms. The announcement of new Baldur's Gate, of course, we heard about that. Dark Alliance game suggested change. Dark Alliance was sort of semi-top, not quite, isometric, more like top-down, like sort of just RPG, basher.
Yeah.
That was for the PlayStation and the Xbox
Yeah, I
already.
was wondering if that's what you were referencing.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2, it was Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance. I actually like the funny thing is that when I got my first PlayStation 2 was I got for Christmas, and actually like that was one of the games that they bought me was the first Boulder Gates for the PlayStation 2, which is it was interesting but very small. And
Hmm.
now that I think about it,
Yeah, it
the
was
very
short. I played both. I played Dark Alliance 1 and 2. Uh,
and I always kind of wanted to pick up the second one, but I wasn't like overly impressed. I
and
mean, it was fun. It was the first one was a fun game, but not like, oh my god, I need to find out what exactly happens next.
uh, And oh, by the way, they were made by Black Isle Studios.
Hmm.
And the third game was planned was, and this is from the Wikipedia wiki page from the Black original Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. A third game was planned, but was canceled early in development due to legal problems and the closure of Black Isle Studios after Interplay went bankrupt.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, especially when you get into like the licensing and of course D&D. So that's owned by Wizards of the Coast. And,
Yeah, at this time, the licensing was because Atari usually was the. There were a couple of years where Wizards of the Coast was fighting to get their licenses back from Atari
hmm.
because Atari was they had the exclusive license to publish Dungeons and Dragons games, to publish them, not to create them though. And but I mean, this I liked it because it was sort of light Diablo esque type game, right? Which I got, was it Grim Dark? I think it's called. Yeah, I got that Grim Dark game, Grim Dark, yeah, which is also a sort of Diablo esque type game that I got like $7, something like that. In the Grimdark, yeah, or yeah. I gotta check now. I gotta check my GOG library and see what what did I buy. But I bought a recently a sort of um sort of Diablo S type game. I'm trying to get back into that. I know that POE Pillars of Eternity. It was a Pillar of Eternity. No, what's the other one?
uh Illuminera?
No, 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 no. Friends. Let me. Okay, then. My collection. Name of the game is. How about it? G. Think. Wrong. Oh. Wait a minute. I think I didn't. I know I bought it on Steam. Never mind. Well, I can load up GOG Galaxy and have all my. I'm not gonna bother. But I did buy a sort of a Diablo-esque game, and it reminds me of Baldur's Gate. Well, so one of those things.
Never got into Diablo. Though funny thing, one of my first PlayStation, original PlayStation games was a dungeon crawler like Diablo called Darkstone.
Hmm.
And I actually kind of like use that as a testing point for that PlayStation cable H to HD cable thing, which I wasn't overly impressed with.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'll figure it out later because I don't want to mess too much with my screens and then have everything collapse on me again. We spent 2 years basically being in the dark, so I'm not gonna play that. So yeah, there's not a lot of news. I mean, but the fact that probably everybody got. Oh, and another thing is that Outer Worlds, a game that I wanted to play this year, but for some reason I couldn't make my computer play it,
Hmm.
is getting a DLC.
Oh,
So
I guess
that's
that should not be all that
yeah.
unsurprising. I'm glancing at like this. I'm looking at headlines like, "Oh, Hideo Kojima tweets an image working on next concept for upcoming projects." Like, oh, shut up, Kojima. Of course, we all know. It's like, ugh. It's just kind of like, okay, Kojima, you're just there. You go. There's the spotlight again.
Yeah.
Just feed his ego. Let's see. Of course, Keanu Reeves is a character from Cyberpunk's going to be immortalized in Todd McFarlane toys. Makes Todd McFarlane toys. I used to remember those when those used to be cool, and then he kind of started doing like baseball stuff. Of course, there's he's whole like Spawn thing. It's just that's a whole interesting legal mess. The whole Spawn thing. That's kind of interesting, but not really video game related.
For the for those who want to who play in the Sony PlayStation, Sony new deal $30 DualShock 4 attachment adds back buttons and an OLED display. Sony, you're going back to adding more buttons to the same controller. I mean, I guess if you want, I mean, it basically it's one of has the functionality of an Xbox X Pro controller that has like the paddles on the back, and this is an attachment. But how much the DualShock 4 goes for? Like a 80 90
So
dollars?
a DualShock 4 would go for about $60.
Wait,
On
like
sale you can
90. Yeah,
yeah,
with
on
this.
sale you can find it like for 40, like 50, $40.
I never tried it because I was an Xbox dude all my life, and it was like, yeah, well, I got one Dual Shock, but it was like a secondhand Dual Shock, like another, and it wasn't okay. It was cheap and plasticky and like all of them, but this was very extremely light even for Sony standards. But also the arrangement of the controls, I never liked the sort of the
Mm,
Dual Shock in the front because it seems very crap. Although supposedly the Dual Shock 4 it's more roomy and more
mhm.
barrel balanced. It has triggers and stuff like that. But once I got used to the Xbox One, I never looked
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
honestly, sometimes I get my, like since, like, the X position on the Xbox is different than the X position on the PlayStation, I sometimes get those confused in my head, even, like, to this day. Like, X, oh, no, wait, that's square.
Some people are making some very nice things in Minecraft. Yes, I'm looking for the dark, the weirdest, oldest news I can find, just so because we don't have a lot of news to talk about. This is a Cyberpunk 2077 Minecraft City is a blocky masterpiece, according to. It looks nice. They even made a red blocky sun, apparently. So if you're into Minecraft and want to explore Night City, the name of the city, fictional city in Cyberpunk, go ahead and do that. Put the
Actually, that reminds me, there was a something I saw this morning where, this hacker managed to uh, hack a bit more into PT, the
Mhm.
Silent Hills demos, where um, I guess like at the end, I know very little about PT as a demo, other than you're kind of trapped in a house or an apartment or something. That it ends with like you actually walking outside and being in like some sort of city, which I guess is Silent Hills, and it's apparently this hacker kind of found a way to like walk around the city, and it's actually like mostly rendered. Like a lot of the features are there, like that's an actual place you can walk around, which is kind of neat. Neat look at what could have been.
Yeah, but our friend Kojima does not have the rights to that game, so therefore you probably see it. I said our friend, like I know him personally, like
Yep.
Keith Keeley. So
He's a friend in the same way that David Cage is a friend of the show.
it's a friend. Yeah, sure. Uh, so I think we don't have any more news unless somebody can drag something out of somewhere, and I don't know. Um, because well, we're gonna talk about the games we played this year. Yes, I'm going. I still promise that I'm gonna make my year-end review, but I've been waiting for a couple of things that are happening, including the fact that I have a project I'm working on, which I can't talk about until I finalize it. So I want to do it before the
Ooh,
year's out, so it's a thing. Um, I was gonna do it before Christmas, but you know,
yeah, stuff
it
happens.
stuff
Same here.
happens. Yeah. And we're gonna talk about. So I'm gonna repeat that, and in that year, the channel review is gonna be more about. It's gonna include that information, so a bit of a rehash, but also some very personal stuff, which doesn't fit in the podcast. Uh, so for me, this has been the year of the Japanese game.
Hmm.
which is, well, a lot of people might sound very weird because, like, never played Japanese games before. It's like, well, yes, I have, but not to the extent that I played them. I know that you're mostly play PlayStation, so there's a lot of more games and Japanese consoles.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I can see that because it seems like a lot of more of those are getting ported to PC.
mm-hmm. So Ace Comp. So a rundown and not well, generally in the order I played them. A new game this year also coincides with being a new game that I played this year was Ace Combat 7,
Mhm.
which was fun. Right? I like being around a plane and shooting three things. If you want to do that, that's Ace Combat 7. And it had a very simple but engaging multiplayer. Just battle out with other people in your super mega planes and fire missiles and dodge, and mostly you just spend around just dodging and dodging and dodging until you get blasted out of the sky. The Dragon's Dogma, which was very interesting because it's a Japanese game that tries to be a Western RPG, but it's still very much Japanese game. So it's like, well, the story went exactly where you expected it to go. You know, big surprises there. Um, you know, like I said, the old meme. You start as a level 1 peasant, and then level 55 or 150, you fight
Like
God.
a king or something, yeah.
You fight God. That's what you do in Japanese games, right? Um, Bayonetta
Next.
was pretty awesome. Too bad Bayonetta 2 is a Nintendo exclusive for the Wii U, and they did put it for for
The Switch, yes.
the Switch. Okay, a reason to get the Switch.
And next, they ported both the first and second game
Yeah, yeah,
to the Switch. Aren't they working on a third game too?
yeah. I think they are, but I heard rumors about it now. I'm thinking. It was a lot of fun. Very much, literally in your face in some cases. Like the camera will zoom in into Bayo's crotch. It's like, whoa. And I'm like, good thing I'm a heterosexual dude, because otherwise I might be turning this stuff off. Like, yeah, I can see some people going like, mm,
A little
uh,
too much.
it's I get that. I get that in my day. Every day I can just not in my video games. I mean, I'm not again. We talk about sex a lot. Well, we talk about sex in games quite a bit in this channel because it's part of gaming. But it was sort of like, yes, this is the closest we dare to get without actually being pornographic, right? Because it was like that. It was like, but at the same time, the game is so ridiculous and so much fun, right? It's very linear, but sort of mastering the game and jumping and doing the things and the fights, and I went back and I replayed a lot of the certain fights, right? And it was like, I really like the game. It's a very short game, but it was a lot of fun. Vanquish, which was from the same studio, that also had I guess that studio they like to just go balls to the wall, because that one was like, if Bayonetta is, look, boobies and breasts and butts and legs up to high rise. This is uber mega machismo, military machismo, right? Taking like a 1980s, maybe early 1990s action, movie, American, and just dialing up to 111, right? Like the dialogue, everything, right? And you're fighting around, and it's, of course, because you have so much testosterone on screen. There's just a hint, just a tiny little hint of homoeroticism, because of course,
Yeah, yeah, at some point, if you go way too machismo, you kind of like end up looping back around into like, oh, and now it's becoming a little too gay.
Yeah, it's like you literally drain the estrogen out of the universe, and you're just left with male hormones. It's like, well, I guess why not, right? But of course, they don't go there, because to go there would have been interesting if they went there. To be honest, like, I mean, you're already going that high. There's a massive highway. You're speeding down the highway. Might as well just take the entire trip. But of course, at a couple of times, it's like, no, this is bro stuff, bro. So very broish game, but I also liked it as well. Of course, the Yakuza games that I played, 3 of them, nearly back to back. Started with Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza Zero. No, wait, I played Yakuza
The first
Zero
one.
Kiwami.
Oh,
because I played them, sequentially. Then plays Yakuza Kiwami,
Mm-hmm.
and then I played
Two.
two. No, actually, no. Actually, I played Kiwami first, and then went to Zero, and then went to, which was very interesting because I got to see Majima talk about homoeroticism. Um, Majima as in his crazy self, and then see Majima in his serious self, and then see Majima again in his crazy self. It was like, wow, this is schizophrenic in a game that's very schizophrenic. And Dark Souls 3, of course. Another new game that I played that I couldn't finish, I probably return to, is Sekiro, uh, which I at the time I didn't realize this because my hard drive was dying, and that's why I couldn't finish it. Which I realized it was, I probably would have done something about it sooner, but didn't. Um, and but it was, for what I played, it was pretty good. I like the stealth combination with the hard fights, Dark Souls style hard fights. And I'll probably go back to that. So I mean, I played all the games. I played a lot of XCOM, especially the original XCOM. Played a lot of BattleTech. But since I played BattleTech the last, started playing BattleTech in 2018, it's good. It's a good game that got better with every DLC that I bought. And that's one of the things that I'm really happy that I bought the DLC. I'm playing right now Heavy Metal. It's like, this is pretty solid, right? Not huge expansions, but and also I think, yeah, this year also I played the 3 um Shadowrun games.
Hmm.
Shadowrun returns all the way to Shadow Hong Kong. Again, solid games, and it shows a company that improves with every iteration. They know how to do that curve. Like other people who are just like, well, we're gonna sell you a death counter for $20 for a hole.
Yep.
And you'll buy it. So, you know. But overall, I think, because and then I didn't really grew up playing a lot of Japanese consoles and therefore Japanese games. A lot of the conventions of Japanese, especially, and how much I love this term, storytelling, were really really hit me in the face, almost as much as Bayonetta's crotch. And it's like, yeah, I make the joke about fighting God and all that, but I find that the characters, and even the characters that play apparently the role of the rebel, eventually always fight to maintain the status quo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the story is not about breaking the status quo; it's almost always about restoring it. Whether it's
Yeah.
sci-fi or the present or the past, it's always about that, right? Where in the West, there's an assumption in some games, not all of them, that you are a rebel and you
Yeah.
are trying to change things for the better or for the worse, whatever, right? That change is in Japanese games, at least in all the games I played, is really about restoring the status quo, right? Also, people sort of saying, people putting with stuff that I would, and again in the West, will be the scene where you punch, the police chief in the face and walk out, or you put down, your badge or something. Here's like, okay, no, yeah, you're right, because you're my superior. I have to
Mm-hmm.
live in this extremely hierarchical situation I hate, but I do not agree with, and I'm gonna somewhat try to subvert so I can live with my morals, but I'm still gonna play to it anyway, or I'm just gonna ignore it and be myself, which is being the epitome of whatever it is that I'm playing to, so everybody will come around to my point of view anyway. Again, restoring the status quo. Or in the case of Ace Combat 7, the main character doesn't even say anything at all because it doesn't have a voice. A weird choice, you know. Um, and not in the, you have dialogue options, but you don't have a voice. The character doesn't have a voice. It's like literally everybody around you talk, and there's a one point where point blank he's gonna be asked about something and gets interrupted and doesn't get to say anything. And also doesn't have a face. Again, all the character has a face, but he doesn't have a face because it's supposed to be you, I guess. He has a name, 3 strikes, but that's about it. And a call sign, but I mean, it was interesting year, when my computer was not having the fits, of course. I mean, I wish I played the Outer Worlds. So what I was playing about it was okay. Like, oh, Obsidian, I'm gonna give you a chance. Oh, this seems to be pretty cool. But somehow I just maybe my computer is outdated, Outer Worlds, and I just won't. I'll get a new graphics card and try again. But yeah, and of course I also learned the lesson by anything Microsoft.
Hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
So far, I actually that's the version I got. So far, I haven't had any issues. I haven't played it myself personally.
Okay. Yeah.
So far, it hasn't had any issues with my computer.
No, I think it's just that they it wasn't really even the game. It was the things that they came bundled with it. Like, oh, you have to have this utility to play,
Oh,
and I'm
oh,
like,
all the
you know,
all of the other additional programs and software.
yeah, that Epic doesn't bundle with with the game, but Microsoft Store says, no, well, we're gonna update your Windows whether you like it or not. I'm like, yikes! And then, oh, you bought this game, but we don't give refunds. Thank you, Microsoft. We're the best. It's sarcastically to the camera. So I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, what can I say? Another thing aspect of these games that was so interesting. Yakuza was fun, but talk about storytelling. It's like, oh, we have this very linear story, very serious story, but then there's a thing about Japanese, especially the better games. I think like Yakuza, which they're very much self-aware of
Hmm.
the conflict between storytelling and actually playing the game. Like, oh, we're in a culture where people expect these sort of grandiose stories, right? They're heartfelt, and they don't have to necessarily be grandiose, but it's all about the story. The story is important, and the characters are important, and they have these moments. It's like, okay, cool. But we know that this is a somewhat open world game, so in the sort of minute to minute stuff, we can't have that always be high drama because it's gonna get tiresome very quickly. So we're basically gonna fill the game with these side stories and mini games that are rarely tragic. They're very, they're sort of very lighthearted. Some aspects, that's some aspect of Japanese games is like, again, with the sex, it's like, okay, nothing is explicit, but it's like the implications. Like, oh, in one game I save a girl from a cult, and the implication is that this cult exists because the guy who's running it wants to have a bunch of. First of all, he wants to fleece all these young people from the money, but on top of that, he gets the added benefit of having sex exclusively with all the young women in the cult. So I enjoyed beating the
Yikes!
living crap out of that guy because it's like, oh, okay, this guy deserves a beating, right? Or another situation where some girls are selling their
Underwear.
used underwear, not just their underwear, their used underwear to some creeps, right? And then this guy shows up and wants to kill this girl because he's obsessed and all that,
He's in
and
love with her and wants to be with her.
yeah, and this sort of mixed message of, okay, this guy's a creep and this has to be stopped, but at the same time, she's
Uh,
to blame.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, what did you expect?
Yeah, I'm like, sure, the business that we're getting into was pretty dangerous, and these are sort of very young, they're teenagers who should know better. But at
Well,
the same
especially after
time,
he tells them like you shouldn't be doing this. You could get yourself in trouble.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like, don't excuse the psychotic
Yeah.
bastard who wanted to knife the girl, because that would happen whether or not they were selling their underwear. This guy could have just seen this girl from across the street and just gone and tried
Ooh.
to kill him, because of course he's obsessed, right? So that was like, oh yeah. Also interesting, exciting things about gender roles. There's a part about a trans character and how they transition away from their life, but not simply transition away out of the life of identify as male to be identified as female, and their gender role, but also the fact that they were members of a gang and
Hmm.
left that life, and it's like now they want to be something else, right? And
I was gonna say, is that like in the second games? I don't remember that.
it's in the second game. It's in the
Mm.
Kiwami 2.
Because like the I think the only trans thing I saw was in the first game. And it was kind of yikesy.
I don't think I if I don't remember it.
Actually, no, it was both in I think it might have been in the first game or in Zero as well. There's one mission where you have to chase somebody for money,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, like this is totally a guy," and he runs really fast, and he started disguising himself as a woman, but
Oh.
he also ended up liking dressing up like a woman, so he it's the only time you ever fight female characters or
Oh.
models are when they're very blatantly said that this is a guy, not a woman. This is a guy dressed like a woman. Because there was that one, and you have to like chase him around, kick his ass, and then he like runs away.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
She and then there was another one in the first one where I don't know, like this lady comes to you as like an escort, and
Mm.
I guess it later turns like I don't know if she was trying to rip you off or something,
Mm-hmm.
but then you end up fighting her because like turns out to be a guy,
Oh.
and then his I don't know like his partner who looks like a man but apparently is a woman
Mm.
is a trans man, and like comes and then you kick his butt too. It's like, well, you look like a guy, so I'll kick your butt, even though I guess
Yeah,
you're
that's
trans.
a thing. That's
And
a
it's
thing
like,
where well, yeah, it's yikes in many levels. One of them is, oh, Kiryu is such a hero that he will not fight women. He's not gonna abuse women. But if it turns out that it's a dress, well, although
yeah,
Majima does have a fight with a female character, I think in the first game, I think it is, or the second game, where one of the people that he has to train them is a woman.
hmm.
Well, I think it's Kiryu. I'm not really sure, right?
Oh,
Uh,
Kirio.
yeah,
He trains with like that's where he actually gets his beast form. Is
yeah,
his fighting stance is
yeah.
from a woman.
Yeah, and she's just beating the crap out of everybody left and right. So I was like,
Yeah, but I don't think you actually fight her.
yeah, you
You
fight her. You fight her once,
oh
and the sort of you don't beat her down to bloody pulp, right? I mean, on
yeah.
screen it looks like you're doing that, but in the cutscene it's like, okay, her off. It's like, okay, you're tough enough. Okay, I'm gonna teach you how to do the beast form thing, which is I think it was in Zero, yeah, when learning all the basic moves. So that happens. The social commentary in this game, especially in Zero, was like very much a criticism of the 1980s.
Hmm.
Very poignant, but it wasn't a criticism necessarily of systemic
Yeah, I felt
problems.
like
It was just of individuals. Oh, people are obsessed with money, as
yeah,
opposed to the fact that this is 1980s and everybody.
capitalism.
We can't talk about capitalism, but we can talk about people just
Yeah, like the
being
guy with the
denigrating.
cell phone who has like a shoulder phone where you have
Yeah.
to carry like this giant battery pack. He's like, I dream of a time where we're gonna have like handheld like phones and they're gonna be able to do other things. And Kira's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, sure.
I'm looking back at it. So I mean, of all those games, I think the Yakuza games. The one problem also have Yakuza again, sort of story versus gameplay kind of thing, is that they always have like a central mini game that's almost like a competing game within a
Hmm.
game. But because, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I got so much into the story, and the way the mechanics of the story work is that you cannot do it all at once.
Yeah.
So I almost left it almost always incomplete. Like I really tried the cab wraith in Yakuza 2, but it was like, okay, you did cabaret, the girls are tired, you have to come back. And it's like, well, if they're tired, I can't win the competitions, which means I have to do something else. And usually what you do is, you
The
know,
side missions or the
time,
other side stories or
or you
the
do part of
main
the main
story.
story, but then you
But
come
then of
back,
course,
you advance the story, which means you have less time. And sometimes the story goes like, well, right now you can't do anything else. We have to just focus on the story. So it's thing was like, I completely in the new version of two, they added basically a completely side story with Majima, and I skipped that completely.
hmm.
And I'm not a completionist, but I also feel like these things are there to be experienced, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, like so I try to be I'm like like a compulsive completionist for most games, but like yeah, like Yakuza kind of broke me a little bit of that because I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna try to like play all the mini games and stuff. Some of the mini games I don't find interesting. It's like, and some of
yeah,
them are way too difficult. Like the karaoke is like, no. this isn't fun. I'm not gonna like break my fingers over trying to like.
I was a fan that playing like the Chinese and Japanese games like Go and stuff like that. I was like, and Shogi, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Yeah, or mahjong. It's like I tried
Mahjong,
reading
right?
the instructions, it just kind of went over my head.
Yeah, I was like, I don't.
Oh,
If you like that, if you're into mahjong,
or like I tried learning that weird card game with like the I guess seasons
mhm.
and the and like I kind of just ended up just I think I'm playing this right. I happen to win, but I'm not sure how,
Yeah,
or I happen to lose. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I mean, it's like, yeah, it's one of those that I just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna stick to just completing the side stories because those seem fun. Oh, and like the second was it? No, it was Zero. Like the one I'm like, no, I'm not gonna play this. The fucking like mud wrestling cat girl
yeah,
fights.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
I skipped that one
no,
completely. Yeah,
nah. Like it was funny when it was like in the guys. It's clearly a recycle asset
mhm.
from Zero into Kirigami, the whole card game where like it's the exact same models just dressed up like bugs, and it's a children's card game. That was funny, but this is
Yeah.
like, oh, these are women. Like, oh, like this is some weird like Fight Club Underground thing where we bet on women fighting on each other in mud wrestling contests because it's aha women and
It's the kind of thing
sexual.
that if I would play, I play by myself. It's like I'm not
Yeah,
necessarily
and
going to stream this. Not that, by the way, it's not against the rules of Twitch to stream it because there's no nudity, not even pixelate anything, or graphic sex. I mean, that's fine. But still, I didn't feel comfortable. In fact, there was a part where you go
yeah,
to the booths and you do the videos, and for a moment, I was like, "Are they actually gonna show like some girl like this or
yeah.
whatever?" Like, "Oh, I hope not, because that's gonna be." And the way
Like,
that Kiryu reacts is like he's really into it. Like all of a
oh,
sudden he's gonna drop his pants or something. I'm like, "Oh, Kiryu,
well, no, it's implied because it zooms into like the tissue box.
yeah,
It's like, oh yeah. Uh, or like the weird, was that the first one or the Zero where you do the phone date thing,
yeah,
and it's yeah, but some of those are funny, but I don't know why like the cat girl fights were kind of like, mm, like I'm uncomfortable. I really don't want to do this.
I
Versus
know."
like but oh, it's a children's card game. Ha ha ha. Ha. It's really sexual, but it's a kids card game. I found that hilarious.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
playing
I
against little
will say
kids.
something about at least the main character, Kiryu. Kiryu comes
Yeah.
across most of the time as being so confident in his sexuality that it's like, oh, somebody it's gay or whatever, or something happens, like, yeah, I don't not a problem.
Like,
Right?
I'm not gay. I'm not gay, but like I don't care.
And
Like,
like there's the whole photo session thing with the guys. Like he was more, I think he felt more comfortable because he got tricked into it. Like, oh, this is I'm trying to help you guys out. And it's like, fine, I'll do it, right? And I'll do the cute thing, and then you do the hard thing and all that. Oh, fine, I'm into it. But it's like, oh, you guys are liars. Okay, now I have to beat the crap out of you because you tricked me into this. And also, there's an aspect there of consent. Like they were
mhm.
using the pictures without his permission, like he didn't want to, and that's I think where you have the fight, right? The one with the dominatrix as well. It's like, okay, I mean, I'm not an expert being dominatrix, but sure, I'll help you out. I don't, that's a cool thing, right? He doesn't judge her for being,
Yeah.
which is what are you expecting in a character like this? Like, oh, I judge you because blah blah blah. You shouldn't be doing this. Like, no, well, that's your job, and as long as
I don't
you're,
know, but yeah, which is kind of weird because it's like you got that one who's like, oh yeah, okay, that's her job for being dominatrix, but he's like, well, underage girl selling her panties. Like
yeah,
being in sort of looks like, well, she's kind of being an entrepreneur. It's like she found a niche that she could sell. She has a product. And I mean you end up hiring her as
yeah,
like a consultant later
yeah.
on.
You can do that in the property mini game as well. But that's another thing. Is like I think that's the thing. It's like especially with Kiryu and going back to the whole rebel thing. He's set up as being kind of like somebody stands aside and is a rebel,
But he's
but he's
not.
also the ultimate paragon. Like he's like a samurai trapped in
He's
a
a
body.
white knight.
He's a white knight. He's a samurai trapped in the body of a yakuza. It's all about honor, about respecting his elders. They do. I mean, spoilers. Somebody who is very close to him reveals to him that he's the reason why he's an orphan. It's like, well,
Hmm.
I'm still loyal to you.
Hmm.
I'm like, dude, this guy just Like, well, no, it's it happened.
Yeah, it's
That's how it's the
oh my
life.
god,
And he
it's
doesn't kill,
almost
but he beats up people and breaks their spines. I mean,
so it sort of reminds me of Star Trek. He's like Worf, who has like this idealized, I guess, vision of Klingons and
mhm,
Klingon pride and honor, and then he's disgusted at the reality of how Klingons work and their society and their whole hierarchy thing. But yet he still wants to be part of it, and he's
yeah,
still like sad when he's not. And that's exactly what Kiryu is. He's like,
yeah.
oh no, Yakuza. Even though it's a criminal organization, which is like it's a criminal organization, but we're like honorable criminals, but then they're not, and
I
he's
mean, the first game starts with you beating the living tar out of somebody because they didn't pay their bills.
yeah, they
Like
didn't
you,
pay their protection money.
yeah. It's so much though that he has to say, "Well, I beat the tar out of this guy, but I didn't kill him. He was
Yeah.
still alive. I mean, barring
I
major
guess I
internal
guess it
trauma."
was even more offensive that he hired protection
Yeah,
against like yeah, and it's like
it's like barring internal trauma and bleeding and prior conditions. Yeah, I just beat the crap out of him because that's what I do. My fists are somewhat powerful weapons, but not. Although he does kill in the games anyway. He doesn't
yeah,
kill. But those
there's
road sections, those forest road
yeah,
sections, he just I mean those
the cars
helicopters.
explodes.
The people get shot in the face, and it's like helicopters crash from the sky. So yeah,
Those don't count. Like
yeah.
I totally saw parachutes off screen.
Yeah, so it's like it's. I think that's kind of the charm of Yakuza games. Is like they know that they can't take themselves too seriously. It's like for every melodramatic moment, oh, this is real. Like, hey, you're gonna help this, this kid sing in the middle for his parents' soap, birthday party or something. Teach him how to sing. It's like I don't know how to sing. Well, let's do karaoke. I'm gonna teach you.
Birthday.
Yeah. Or he's gonna be embarrassed because some girl comes up to him and says, they should have a trip to a soap land or something. It does have one of the best uses of a kid character, which I thought it was gonna be annoying, but in original and in two they used the little girl that
Hmm.
like it works. It was like
Yeah.
kid characters can be so annoying, but this girl I would actually kill for her, and he does kill for her, and that's another thing. It's like, oh, it's the daughter or somebody I love, but it's not my child, but I still love this person. Now I'm sort of an uncle to this
Like,
young girl, but
essentially her surrogate father.
yeah, I mean there are other games that I played, and the games we played, not the games I played. So you have a couple of games you want to throw away before we
Let's
close
see.
the hour.
I played quite a bit. I didn't play as much as I did, I think, the year before. At least I didn't feel like I did. I always kind of try to play as many indie games. There's a few releases too. I know a game that I kickstarted was like a visual novel. I didn't get around to playing just because I wasn't in the mood. Just like things like Who We Are Now, which is like an LGBT like post-apocalyptic like visual novel that I helped kickstart. It came out this year, and I just never got around to it. I the biggest thing I played this year, like I mentioned before, like Hellblade, that was really good. Um, I replayed Inquisition just because I guess I just kind of felt an itch, and then I remembered why I didn't really like it that much.
Yeah.
Uh, I played earlier in the year. I played Digimon World Next Order. Not only did I play it once, I played it twice.
Hmm.
So I played this PS2 4 version, and this kind of always upsetted me in prior years when it was originally released that it was originally a PlayStation Vita game, and all I had was the Vita at the time. And I was kind of upset that this game didn't come to the Vita. Then I was reading that like the Chinese version actually has like the translated script in the files, but it's not accessible. And so I found a copy of that and like patched it and replayed it on the Vita. And I'm actually kind of surprised that um, the PlayStation 4 version is actually not really a direct port
Hmm.
because it has like other additionals like the environments are kind of actually spiced up a bit more and have like more objects to them, and it runs better.
Hmm.
And so I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, well, okay, Bandai, I forgive you. I'm sorry, Bandai, for throwing shade your way. Or Bandai Namco, I guess you guys did good. Uh, Titanfall 2, I was surprised. I enjoyed that game a lot. I got that 'cause I was like, well, it looks interesting, but I'm not sure how well I'm gonna enjoy it. The campaign is really fun. It's I know if anybody has a PlayStation 4, I like if you have PlayStation Plus, you can get that for free right now. Um, Played the original Starbox for the first time, which I never finished. Like, oh, I kind of remember these levels from Star Fox 64, but I died a lot. Replayed Final Fantasy 6, or actually no 7, just because this felt like it. Detroit Become Human. That was free this year. I didn't buy that. That was free from PlayStation Plus, and the game was so much fun, and not in the way I think it was intended. It was hilarious just seeing David Cage, like,
Being David Cage.
David Cage being David Cage, being all serious and gritty about like social commentary, kind of, but not really. it, it was hilarious. It I had fun with that game, and it's pretty. I mean, you say what you will about the writing, it's very pretty. It's a very good technical marvel, I guess. I didn't play a whole lot of like weird sex games. There was like a few little story ones that I played on itchy.io, Mountain Town, Rest Stop. There nothing extremely stand out about it other than they're just like weird little gay visual novel. Sexy Brutale, I played that. I was disappointed in it. Like, this is a game I saw Jim kinda hype a bit, and I was really trying to get into it because I did like the style of it, and I like the idea of the mechanics. So it's like this weird time rewind thing and try to kinda solve murders and prevent them and stuff. But I really could not get into it at all. Like, I could not.
What happens?
It happens. Eh, and I kinda didn't like the twist at the end. It's almost, I won't spoil it, but it's almost as bad as like, "Oh, it was Dream," kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah. It almost goes with that trope, and it's kinda, you
Was it
know
this year that you played? Because I saw the videos about the gay romance and the sort of the what is this company that tries to be the successors to Bioware, but
Yes. So those, I played Greedfall. I actually played quite a bit of Spider games. Um, that's the studio's name is Spiders. So I played, Bound by Flame, which was a game that came out maybe, like, I wanna say 7 years ago. And this is a game that's been on my backlog, like, for a
oh yeah,
long
you
time.
recommended me like the recommendation was like,
Yeah.
well, it's like Dragon Age 2. I'm like,
It's like Dragon Age 2, but, like, it is like Dragon Age 2, but bad, like, in a hilariously bad way. So,
oh really?
almost like if it was Dragon Age 2, but, like, like, in a so bad it's good kinda way.
Oh okay. People who don't know,
No, no,
Dragon
Bound
Age
by
2 is
Flame.
yeah, Dragon Age 2. It's
That
not one of my favorite games. Yeah.
Yes, that's I need to make a game about these spider games that I played this year, but like this has this character that I lovingly dubbed as Discount Morgan because she is it is clearly like they told I think the direction that the voice actors was given is like sound exactly like Morgan from Dragon Age. Like except that she doesn't have those weird dialect with like the tizzes and
Mhm.
whatever, the like dows and
Yeah.
she sounds just like Morgan. And she's like a scantily clad sexy witch for some reason. Just
Why not? Right.
yes. And so that game is it's a fantasy game, like a just like a regular like fantasy adventure game. It it's so Writers is really good about setting up the worlds, even though the games feel a lot smaller than the world's kind of the lore and stuff. Because
Hmm.
this felt like it was going to be bigger in terms of like because they set up like, oh, so the enemies in this game are like these ice lords. There are like 7 of them, and I feel like they ripped off not even having seen Game of Thrones, I feel like they ripped it off because the enemies are like these ice lords and they're necromancers and they make zombies. You fight like zombie warriors and stuff. But it's like, oh, there's 7 of them. So I'm like, am I gonna have to go around killing 7 of these guys, like these ice lords, and I get like fiery demon powers to combat them? No, actually, you don't. You only fight one of them, and like through that one, you end up like being able to disrupt like their source of power essentially because they all getting their power from one thing, and you just end up disrupting that.
Oh,
But it has a morality system that's not very good. It's very like just you're either really good or really bad,
very,
and
very binary.
very binary. Then I played the Technomancer, which is actually a sequel to a smaller game they released like in 2013, 2012, 2013 called Mars Warlogs. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't call it like Mars the Technomancer because I guess it's sort of a sequel and it sort of kind of takes place at the same time as that game. Essentially, the world setup is it's much bigger than the actual game. Is you're colonists on Mars and you're living on Mars, or you're descendants of the colonists, and it's very cyberpunky. It's a very dystopian cyberpunky. You guys have no connection to Earth. Like Earth has been silent for so many years, and there's essentially like there's clans, and the clans are broken up by like the corporations. I guess they originally sent those that particular colonists and stuff. And of course, you have space wizards, which is people who can like shoot electricity, and it's like space magic. It's much bigger than than the first game, but it's and this is the thing they I love that they have their own engine with the studio. It makes their game stand out away from, and I know I've discussed engines before. I feel like when people, I guess, lease or get licenses for an engine, it sort of makes their game a lot of times they don't heavily modify it. It makes their games feel samey to other completely unrelated games because they use the same engine.
Mhm.
They their engine, it's neat because it gives them sort of their own signature, but between their games, they all feel exactly the same. They all play exactly the same, and it just feels like a reskin of a previous game of the previous game, and it feels exactly that. But it and there's a lot of like just traveling in between like the same maps and having to walk through the same map, so it gets repetitive.
Mm.
I enjoyed the story, but I know it's not a very good game, and that's the compliment I guess that I can give the studio is that it's like, oh, it's a pat on the head. He's like, you tried. Like, I enjoyed your story and concepts. It's not very good, but you tried. You know, by golly gee, you tried because this is like a small studio of like under 20 people, I believe. And then their biggest, and this is probably like the newest, the I think the only game that came out this year that I played was Greedfall.
Mhm.
Greedfall is, I can tell this was a very ambitious project for the studio because it is gorgeous compared to all their other games. It feels like it had more to say, like it had a message and it wanted to say something. It didn't do that great of a job. It did better than its previous games. This is like their magnum opus to date. It is the best of all their games, but it's not a very great game.
Mhm.
It's an okay game at best. It's essentially colonialism, the video game. I mean, it does say like a lot of like probes that'll like colonialism is kind of bad, but it is simplistic.
Yeah.
And it is technically also a green a green game because it's like, oh yeah, climate change is bad. Kind of, but it, it it is their most ambitious game, but it does suffer a lot that it feels like the same game. Uh, it feels different enough, like they did kind of. changed the combat up a bit compared to the other games, but it still has that same mechanic to it, same
Hmm.
crafting mechanic, same fighting mechanic. It's just different enough to be slightly better than the other games. But it does suffer from having traveled between maps back and forth and having to revisit a lot of locations. But I enjoyed it. It's not a great game, but I enjoy it. If you can get like these games for like $20 or under, I think they're enjoyable.
Yeah,
Like
winter
you
sale right now
yeah, you
on
get
Steam,
you
so and
I think
other platforms. Yeah.
yeah, essentially they're a decent like mid-market game studio. Um, I had a lot of fun with them. Again, they're not great games, but I love them. I
Yeah.
also played Metal Wolf Chaos. That came out this year
I
for
need to
the
play that game just because.
yeah,
Why not? Yeah.
it was fun. I mean, I don't think I'd ever replayed a game, but it was kind of like a hilarious fun take to just experience to just see for at least once just how absurd it is. Hmm. So another game I played, another one that Jim would highly recommend is Deadly Premonition, the director's cut for the PlayStation 3, and wow, that is that game is a thing that exists. Like, yeah, that's the zombies. Yeah, that game was a lot of fun. It's a lot of like, what the hell is going on? I don't understand what's going on and why everyone's nonchalant about these zombies, but sure. And the protagonist is like a I guess he's a schizo or something. Maybe I don't know. Does he has an imaginary friend? I don't know.
Hmm.
Is he talking to? Is he breaking the fourth wall? It's you have to this is a game that I have to recommend. It's like it's one of those games. It's like what the fuck. It's has that I wouldn't call it so bad it's good. It's just it's so janky. It's good. It's not it's not bad, but it has that weird like budget game jank to it, but in such a good way.
Hmm.
And it was fun. And the last game to date that I played, the major game, was Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age version.
Hmm.
The game that I've kind of put off playing for a long time. Main thing I was put off with it was just the concept of the license point system because it just seemed really stupid. I need to have the right license to put this particular hat on or be able to put on this accessory. And I was right. It was really stupid, but it was fun. I did
And
enjoy
that's where it's what's her? It's a female character. The lead
s-
is
no,
it's a le-
That's Lightning the 13 game.
Oh, okay.
So the thing is, the story is so convoluted, and I think it's the least fantastical of the Final Fantasies I've ever played because the story it just feels like nothing was really done. I mean, stuff happened, but it wasn't like so bombastic and world saving that it was more like, oh, I saved my country and stopped the war. That's it. Like it's not like, oh, I saved the world kind of stakes. But and then the main character has no purpose in the story at all. Like he literally has no purpose. He does nothing. Like he does something at the beginning. He steals like a diamond. He steals like some stone, and that's it. That's all he does in the game. He's just a tag along, and I'm not sure why he's the protagonist, other than maybe he's because he's 17 and he's like the target audience.
Hmm.
Maybe just so that the target audience would have someone to relate with. And he has a tag along companion who has even less of a purpose in the game. She has no point. She's just there. He just tags along because he's there, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like the other characters have more purpose, and I'm just like, why aren't they the protagonists? Why don't we have a protagonist switch at any point?
Uh,
But I also get the sense that this is like I see Final Fantasy sort of the start of them moving away from turnstile based kind of traditional mechanics because it's neat because it's really active. It's all active time, and then you can kinda you don't have to micromanage your characters manually. You can micromanage them by giving them preset commands, like, if these certain, requirements happen
Yeah.
it's like the first Dragon Age where you had all these, little conditions
Yeah.
that, like, if your health drops below this percentage, take a potion
Mhm.
kinda thing, but to sort of an extreme level. Sometimes they're a little smart about it, sometimes they're not. But for the most part, it's interesting playing around with those, and you don't have to really like manually uh, babysit them. You can
Good.
just sit there and just kind of watch them fight. But overall, like I said, this plot just it kind of had too much lore, and it just throws so much at you, expecting you to already know what this is. And it's like I just got so lost that I kind of didn't care. And then, I just kinda went through the motions like, "Okay, sure," and then we saved the country, and that's it. But out of all the ones that I played, 7 through I played 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 2, now 12. Out of all of those, this is the least story that, like, I feel like very little was accomplished. Like, the
It
stakes just didn't feel as fantastical, which I guess is like, well, it's a little more grounded in reality. You're not gonna just go save the world.
not so fantastic for Final
Yeah,
Fantasy, and yeah. Huh.
but it just kind of felt like,
On that note,
yeah.
because we're past about a quarter past the hour, we're gonna leave it here, folks. Thank you for joining us. Of course, if you want to support the channel, there are many ways to do so, including dropping bits, subscribing, following, and joining the chat and the Discord. So, Peppermont, where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Chapelmon pretty much everywhere. I am Chapelmon underscore on Twitch and Twitter, but I primarily hang out on YouTube under Chapelmon.
And of course, you can find me here in the Lesson Learning channel. We're still playing BattleTech Heavy Metal, and I gotta say, the story got very interesting for the people who are very much into the lore of BattleTech. I'm one of those people. Like, oh, this is I know this character, and this is ooh, okay. So we'll see. I don't think it's very long. I might finish it probably before the year's out, a couple of days from now. Maybe, maybe not. Probably start the new year still playing BattleTech, which is not a bad thing because I love the game. And then we go from there. So thank you, Ready, for coming. And if we don't see you, have a again a good Christmas, a great Boxing Day, and happy New Year. So thank you for coming, and we'll see you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.